Throughout its 5,000-year history, the Indian subcontinent has suffered numerous invasions. The last was by the British. And among their greatest legacies were the railways, which fanned out to the very edges of their Indian empire. But they quit India in 1947 and hurriedly partitioned the subcontinent. So many of the old railway routes crossed the new frontiers and were terminated. But a few survived. These are India's frontier railways. Once, the state of Bengal was the jewel in the crown of British India. Then partition divided Bengal in half, creating East Pakistan, a satellite state, ruled by West Pakistan. Until 1971, after a war of independence, it became the People's Republic of Bangladesh. Under the British, the state of Bengal, with its rich agricultural land and its capital, Calcutta, was the empire's most successful trading port. Strategically located on the banks of the Hooghly River, it was a gateway to the Bay of Bengal, the Indian Ocean, and the world. After the British left and in the wars that followed, the railways suffered greatly. There were no cross-border passenger trains between India and Bangladesh for over 40 years, until an agreement was signed in 2008 to run a train across the border. Its name was to be the Maitree Express, meaning simply friendship. The Maitree leaves twice a week from Kolkata to Dhaka, from its own purpose-built station. Jaya Varma Sinha is the divisional railway manager of the Eastern Railway in Kolkata. She's in charge of 23,000 railway employees. She's responsible for 900 trains a week and 1 million passengers a day. But in 2007, she took on a new challenge in Bangladesh as the Indian Railways advisor, and her mandate was to get the Maitree Express up and running.
There were a whole lot of bilateral issues, immigration, customs. Railway was least of the problems. I say Maitree. That's the Hindi word, Maitree. If you do the Bengali version, it would be Maitree. For a long time, we were trying to get a train between the two countries, and there were a lot of difficulties. It was a very interesting task and a very emotional task. I remember sitting in the office late into the night along with the High Commissioner and, talking to India, getting the cabinet to clear the agreement in the middle of the night and all that, so that we could run it actually on the 14th. So that was good. And I was on the inaugural train. So I traveled from Kolkata and to Dhaka. It was a wonderful moment. Really, really good. Entry and exit from it.
After spending 4 years in Dhaka, mentoring the Maitree project, Jaya returned to Kolkata. But of all the trains she now manages, her personal favorite remains the Maitree Express.
They go through immigration, customs, security.
Now she's discussing plans to expand and update the service.
And then waiting for boarding. The first step is to increase the number of coaches which are there in the train. The second, to increase the frequency of this train. It's being discussed between both the countries. So it will happen.
The Maitree is very much a Bengali train. Before partition, northeast India was simply defined as the state of Bengal, and its population were all Bengalis, both Hindu and Muslim. Bengalis like to be known for their talents as religious and social reformers, scholars, literary giants, poets and musicians, and for their love of fish.
Bangladesh piece, this is Hilsa. Hilsa is the Bangladesh piece. I like all piece. মাছে ভাতের বাঙালি না মাছে ভাতের বাঙালি মাছ দিয়ে ভাত খাও ব্যাস পেট
Krishnendu Basu is the guard on today's Maitree Express to the border. Basu is something of a Renaissance man himself. An accomplished tabla player and photographer. He's also a self-confessed foodie, and he's very happy with his life. He's also very serious about his railway duties.
প্রথমত সম্মান যে আমি একটা ইন্টারন্যাশনাল স্টেশনে চাকরি করছি কলকাতাতে ইন্টারন্যাশনাল স্টেশন তারপর মৈত্রী একটা ইন্টারন্যাশনাল ট্রেন আর সেখানে গার্ডের চাকরি করা মানে বিশাল ব্যাপার প্রত্যেকটা যাত্রী মানে যারা ট্রাভেল করছে তাদের মোটামুটি আমার পরে দায়িত্ব
The train is fully booked, so the Maitree is a real success story for the railways, the public, and for international diplomacy. The Maitree is above all a family train. Its passengers are mostly Bengalis, visiting friends and relatives, or returning to their village roots. The journey from Kolkata to Gede at the Indian border is just 113 kilometers. For this leg of the journey, the Maitree is under the control of the guard, Krishnendu Basu.
Station master watch train, he will see the LV. This is the last beacon gone through. The section is clear. Section is clear. This is the most vital. At night, we hang a tail lamp, battery operated tail lamp, blinking red light.
The Maitree Express is the only train which runs between Kolkata and Dhaka in Bangladesh. It's a 392-kilometer journey from Kolkata to Dhaka in Bangladesh, and it takes around 12 hours, depending on the two stops for immigration and customs. On this first leg, there's just enough time for the catering staff to serve the 325 passengers some breakfast and a nice cup of railway tea. Urmi Raman is a well-published Bangladeshi journalist and writer, and she's a frequent traveller on the Maitree.
Basically, we love trains. This train, I love it because I'm going home. I'm going to my own home. So, I like it.
Urmi was born in Bangladesh, married an Indian, and lives in Kolkata. But she's very clear about her own identity.
First, I'm a human being, then I'm a Bengali, and then I'm Bangladeshi. I lived in London so many years. I could have taken a British passport. I didn't. And I'm living in Kolkata, and I was asked by the special branch that you can apply for an Indian passport. I said no. We fought for the country. I'm not giving up my passport.
The railway has always been a family-friendly institution, and Parato Banarji is from just such a railway background. His grandparents had left Bangladesh Railways and joined Indian Railways a year before partition. Now he's the third generation to work for them, and he's the Indian liaison officer and inspector of the Maitree. Travelling in a non-air-conditioned coach costs just £5 each way, so it's very cheap. But a seat in a first-class air-conditioned compartment is £16, not including breakfast.
খাওয়া-দাওয়া সম্বন্ধে কিছু যদি বলেন।
না, খাওয়া-দাওয়া ঠিক আছে। হ্যাঁ, খাবারের কোনো প্রবলেম নেই।
আর এই মালপত্র নিয়ে ওঠা-নামা এটা আপনাদের এটা একটা প্রবলেম।
করি আমরা যেহেতু কোনো লেবার পাই না সব সময়। তারপরে মালগুলা রাখার জন্য কোনো জায়গা তেমন স্পেস নেই।
পার্থ ব্যানার্জি। তা আপনার একটা ওপিনিয়ন নিতে চাইছি।
ভীষণ ভালো লাগে। আমার তো এসিতেও ইচ্ছে ছিল না, কারণ হাওয়াটা পাচ্ছি না, বাংলাদেশের হাওয়া গায়ে লাগছে না। ওই 40-তে গেছি, তারপরে আর যাইনি। তারপরে কিন্তু ইদানিং আমি ভীষণ ব্যাকুল হয়ে গেছি বাংলাদেশে যাওয়ার জন্য, কারণ আমার বয়সটাও তো বেড়েছে।
Krishnendu Basu was an artistic child, born into a railway family. His mother was Bangladeshi and his father was Indian, and he worked for the railways and was known for his fine singing voice.
My father was in Railway Protection Force, RPF. মানে ওনার সেরিব্রাল অ্যাটাক হয়েছিল আমার বাবার। সংসার অবস্থা খুব খারাপ তখন, তো সেই অবস্থায় এখন কম্পেনসেশন করে তো আমি চাকরি পেয়েছি। আমি বললাম যে আমি চাকরি নেবো না, আমার তো গান বাজনা দিক খুব ভালো। তো সেক্ষেত্রে এখন মা বললে তোমার তবলা বাজে কি সারা জীবন চলবে? তবলার জায়গায় থাকবে, চাকরিটা কিন্তু তোমাকে করতে হবে। তো সেক্ষেত্রে তখন রেলে আসা এইভাবে।
Now head of the family, Basu became the breadwinner. He couldn't join the railway police force like his father because they said he wasn't really tall enough. So he joined as a clerk and gradually worked his way up.
ওখানে তো ওই উঁচু ছেড়ে বসতাম, ঠিক আছে, তাই করতে তো ভুড়ি হয়ে গেছে।
Basu still loves to play tabla, but the railway is his bread and butter. All guards and drivers on Indian trains are subject to strict rules and regulations on safety. For acts of God, there are the everyday religious rituals. Gautam Banerjee is signing in at Ranaghat station, a short commute to the border on the Maitree line. He's the guard who will take over from Basu at the border and escort the Maitree across into Bangladesh. But first there's a catalogue of forms and books for signing, and a mandatory breath test for all drivers and guards.
This is breath analyzer machine for the testing of alcoholic situation. If the car and driver is in intoxicated condition, this will be detected by this machine. Okay.
Between Kolkata and Dhaka, the Maitree makes only one stop in India at Gede station for immigration and custom checks. Once the train and the passengers arrive in Gede station, they're literally caged in. This is the end of Basu's shift. He can't travel across the border because he doesn't have a passport. So he's handing over to Mr. Gautam Banarji, who does.
Immigration form.
When we shall go to abroad, this form is to be maintained here. Rigidly followed this rules.
All the passengers must leave the train and carry all their bags for customs clearance and for immigration checks.
Handshake.
And I am taking over the charge from here. Mr. Bose's duty is terminated here. From this place, Banarji's duty is commencing.
After an 8-hour duty, Basu has to sign off at the station master's cabin. And finally, he'll grab a bite to eat.
Morning, duty থাকে আর যেদিন একটু ব্রেকফাস্ট অনেক খাওয়া হয় না
নিচে সুইচটা থাকে কিন্তু আপনার ডিজেল লাইট ইজ 3628 অ্যারাবিক করবেন 9:30 হ্যালো
এখন তো অনেক কমে গেছে আমার তো দিক বিদিক থাকতো না এখন হালকা খাও হালকা থাকো হালকা ফুলকা ফার্স্ট ক্লাস
বউ ভালোবাসা দিয়ে বাড়ি দিয়েছে ভালোবাসা এবার তো ভালোবাসা আছে
যেমন আজকের প্যাসেঞ্জার 3 to 5 the maximum capacity of the train 3 to 6 full passenger
এটা তো ক্ষতিকর দিন যাক ভালোবাসা জিনিস ক্ষতি করবে না
মৈত্রী এক্সপ্রেস কিছুক্ষণের মধ্যে 1 নম্বর প্ল্যাটফর্ম থেকে ছাড়বে আপনারা সবাই গাড়িতে চড়ে বসবেন
After a 90-minute stop in India, the Maitree begins its journey across the border and into Bangladesh.
কাস্টম ক্লিয়ারেন্স ছিল 10:50 ইমিগ্রেশন ছিল 10:57
It takes the Maitree just 20 minutes to travel to Darshana, the first station in Bangladesh, at the bilaterally agreed speed of 10 kilometers an hour. It's a journey Gautam Banarji does 4 times a week.
Now we are going to the border. This is the milestone. This part, India. We have completed our journey in Indian part. And this part, Bangladesh. And this is the BGB, Border Guards of Bangladesh checkpost.
The border was established by the British. They had annexed over half of Bengal, almost 30 million people, and gave it to Pakistan as a satellite state. In 1970, Pakistan was becoming increasingly brutal in an effort to keep the Bengali population under their control. And when they made Urdu the official language, the whole country erupted.
I was in a college at that time. We worked inside the country however we could for the cause. 2 of my brothers went and joined the guerrilla force. The Pakistan army was building up their forces here and they cracked down on the Bengalis, the sleeping people, at the midnight of 25th March.
The response to Pakistan's brutal military regime soon escalated into a full-blown war of independence, involving India, Pakistan, and the newly emerging nation of Bangladesh. During the war, 3 million people were killed, 2 million women were raped, and another 10 million fled across the border into India. The people had rallied to the call of the Mukti Bahini, the freedom fighters, but many never lived to see Bangladesh independence.
Pakistan launched a full-scale war against us.
The Pakistan army made it a criminal offence to listen to any news on the radio, so it was difficult but not impossible to find out what was happening. In a back street near Ishwardi station, a brave chaiwala named Kashim Mullah would secretly tune in to the daily news reports from the BBC World Service. Amirul Islam was only 16 when he joined the freedom fighters, but even in the fog of war, he knew of Kashim's tea stall and his secret radio.
ইনি খুব বড় রিস্ক নিয়ে ওই বিবিসির সংবাদ শোনাইতো মানুষকে।
এলাকায় যাচ্ছে যা থাকতো 5টার পর থেকে ভিড় হইতো।
ও 5টার
পর থেকে ভিড় হইতো। আস্তে আস্তে
সন্ধ্যায় থেকে দোকান জমজমাট হইতো।
এক 150 শুরু হয়।
কোথায় যাচ্ছ? বলে বিবিসির সংবাদ শুনে আসি। খবর শুনে আসি। বিবিসি যাচ্ছি। এই বিবিসির সংবাদ শুনতে শুনতে বিবিসি বাজার হয়ে গেল।
The Pakistan army surrendered on the 16th of December 1971, and the area around Kashim's tea stall was officially named BBC Bazaar for its valued role in spreading the news.
বিবিসি বাজার এটা তো আমার মাতৃভূমি, এটা সবচাইতে আমার গর্বের জায়গা বিবিসি বাজার।
The Indian army is in Bangladesh. The Mukti Bahini and the freedom fighters are around you everywhere. Your only chance is to surrender now.
It went 9 months, and then Pakistan army had to surrender, and we got our independence.
The Maitree arrives at the border station of Darshana in Bangladesh. It's taken nearly 2 hours for all its 325 passengers to clear customs and immigration in India. And now they have to do it all over again. Amirul's generation brought freedom and independence to Bangladesh. Now the freedom fighter has become a railwayman, and he's been working on the Maitree since it started. He's been given a unique job on the train. He's responsible for public announcements and playing religious music and prayers on the journey. Amirul has created his own independent territory. With railway-issue DJ equipment, he's able to perform both a social service and a religious service to the Maitree passengers.
এটা আমার রাজ্য। আমার রাজ্যে গানা বাজানা হয়, আমার রাজ্যে অ্যানাউন্সমেন্ট হয়, আমার রাজ্যে এর অতিরিক্ত আর কিছু হয় না।
The war had finally delivered independence and freedom to Bangladesh, and they had created a new international divide. Parto Banarji visits Bangladesh as a kind of railway ambassador, with all of the courtesies afforded to a visiting railway dignitary. And with plans to increase the service and streamline immigration and customs, there's still a lot of talking and handshaking to do. Ishwadi Junction is not far from the border, and it's home to Muhammad Alu, father of 2 and a chocolate seller on the Maitree Express. Alu's been chocolatiering on the train for the last 3 years. And like most second-generation Bangladeshis, he's patriotic, hard-working and optimistic. The Maitree is an international train, so Alu has adapted his sales pitch accordingly.
এটা গেদি বর্ডার, এটা দর্শনা বর্ডার। ইন্ডিয়ানগুলো এক সাইডে করছে, যারা ইন্ডিয়ান চকলেট খাবে তারা এক সাইডেই পাবে। আর এটা হলো আমাদের বাংলাদেশি মাল যেগুলো মূলত সেগুলো আলাদা সাইড করা। এটা হলো বাংলাদেশি তিল, বাদাম আর এই চকলেট নেসলে দিয়ে তৈরি। যাত্রী যখন বলবে ইন্ডিয়ান চকলেট কি আছে দেখাও, তখন ইন্ডিয়ার সাইড দেখাই দেবো যে এগুলো ইন্ডিয়া, এটা হলো বর্ডার সাইড বাংলাদেশ সাইড, এটা ইন্ডিয়ান বর্ডার সাইড। মাঝখানে আসলে বর্ডার বলতে গেলে কি যে ছোট চকলেটগুলো, এগুলো একটা সাইড দরকার, এটা তো মানুষ দেখতে হবে।
Alu leaves for Darshana station with his chocolate selection. He'll ride the train for a couple of hours, or for as long as he can before his chocolates start to melt. It's already 30 degrees in the shade. It's taken another 2 hours to clear Bangladesh immigration and customs, but finally the Maitree leaves Darshana filled with all its passengers and heads for Dhaka. Bangladesh is a riverine country. There are 700 rivers and tributaries, including the mighty Ganges, the Jamuna and the Meghna. Rivers are the country's major natural resource, but they're both a blessing and a curse. Every year during the monsoon rains, almost 20% of the country is flooded. Thousands of rural people lose their lives, and millions are made homeless. To enable their trains to cross the Ganges River, the British East Bengal Railway Company built the Harding Bridge in 1912. It was still standing until the War of Independence, when the Indian Air Force bombed it to cut off the Pakistani army's retreat. India had been allies with Bangladesh in their War of Independence, and when the war was won, the Indian Railway and the Bangladesh Railway worked together, repaired the bridge and reopened it a year later. The Harding Bridge has been carrying trains without interruption ever since. This is the holy festival of Ramadan, when Muslims across the world fast for a month during the hours of daylight.
Chocolate chewing gum ginger, খাবেন কিছু? Tissue paper টেপার লাগবে কিছু আপা?
Alu is finding business slow on the chocolate front,
Happy candy chocolate.
and the temperature in the non-air conditioned carriages isn't helping.
Chocolate. বাংলাদেশে আছে স্যার এই যে পিনাট, তিল আর বাদাম দিয়ে তৈরি। এটা আছে তিল আর বাদাম দিয়ে। তিল আর বাদাম? হ্যাঁ। তিল আর বাদাম দিয়ে তৈরি? জি, এটা তিল আর বাদাম দিয়ে তৈরি। এটা কি কোনো অসুবিধা নেই? ভালো হবে? এগুলো বাচ্চাদের খাবার। না না, অসুবিধা হলে আর 3 বছর ধরে বিক্রি করছি স্যার, এখানে অসুবিধা হতো? না, কোনো অসুবিধা হবে না। না না, কোনো রিয়াকশন না। চকলেট আর বাদাম। আর কটা নিচ্ছেন? মোটের উপরে যতটুকু পারি কম নেব। 120 টাকা তো। 7 যদি নিই 800 টাকা দিয়ে দেবো। এই 8 বানাবো। আচ্ছা দেন যদি।
The demand for Alu's chocolate snacks may be slow during Ramadan, but the Maitree also offers its Muslim passengers another service, the call to prayer. Prayer times are confirmed by the guard with the Dhaka office, so that Amarul can broadcast the prayers at exactly the right time.
একটা 20 তো বাজে।
দেড়টার সময় আপনি নামাজের জন্য নির্ধারিত জামাত হবে দেড়টায় জামাতের পরে আপনি 2টা পর্যন্ত গান দিবেন না।
2টা পর্যন্ত? হ্যাঁ, তা 2টার পরে দেবো?
হ্যাঁ, 2টার পরে গান বাজাবেন। হ্যাঁ,
আচ্ছা আচ্ছা আচ্ছা, ঠিক আছে।
For all Muslims, fasting over the month of Ramadan is intended to help teach self-discipline, self-restraint, and generosity. It also reminds them of the suffering of the poor. Tradition dictates that you break your fast directly after sunset. So with an hour to go before darkness falls, fasting passengers will expect some food. The catering department have already started preparing some evening snacks known as iftar for their fasting passengers. Both the passengers and the railway staff are grateful for their iftar after the day's fast. The catering staff are the last to tuck in. But Alu seems to have lost his appetite. The day has been unprofitable, and with all the handling, his chocolate bars are not in good shape. Standing on the east bank of the Buriganga River, Dhaka is the political, economic and cultural heart of Bangladesh. And it's the 10th largest city in the world. During the festival of Ramadan, friends and family traditionally get together each evening to break the daily fast. It's been a 12-hour journey from Kolkata to Dhaka, and everybody on the train is eager to get home, especially those who are waiting to break their fast. Urmi feels like she's already back home, and although she's not religious and she's not fasting, she's still going to join her friends for dinner.
I think Calcutta is too urban, but we have connection. Everybody in Dhaka have a village home, but in Calcutta you'll find many people, they don't have any connection with their villages.
If you look into the difference, so differences are there. But if you look into the past history, if you say that pre-47, then you will find we all share a common history. And Sir Cyril Radcliffe, when he was invited to come to Bengal and draw the dividing line, his greatest qualification was he was never been to India. So he can do it with slides and scales and the statistics. But we all hope that the subcontinent will be a continent of peace and harmony and tolerance. That's the fundamental. But that doesn't mean that that will separate the people or the nations from each other.
The religious celebrations and cultural calendar of the entire Indian subcontinent and much of the world is still determined by the moon, the stars and the planets, as it has been for millennia. After the day's duty, Gautam Banerjee, the guard on the Maitree, changes his uniform and his job. With a bachelor's and master's degree in astrology and descended from a family of eminent astrologers, Gautam is transformed into a Jyotish, a reader of the planets and the stars. Based on the movement of the heavens and your birth details, Gautam's calculations are trusted to cure sickness, arrange marriages, fix festivals, and even predict the best time for a baby to be born.
হ্যাঁ 4:38 পর্যন্ত বারবেলা আছে বারবেলার পরে 4:38 থেকে বিকেল 5:23 মধ্যে হচ্ছে মহেন্দ্র যোগ ওই মহেন্দ্র যোগের মধ্যে যদি চেষ্টা করিস তাহলে ঠিক আছে সুস্থ সন্তান আসবে এটাই ঈশ্বরের কাছে প্রার্থনা করি ये इसलिए फ़ोन किया कि इसको वाइफ को आज एडमिट किया नर्सिंग होम में तो उसको कल डिलीवरी होने वाला है राष्ट्रीय पंचांग है इसके आधार पर मैं टाइम को मैंने अच्छे टाइम जो है डॉक्टर तो सीजर करेगा उस टाइम अगर सीजर करके बेबी डिलीवरी हो जाएगा तो उसके फ्यूचर जो है वो अच्छा होगा
The Buriganga River is a life-giving force that flows through the city of Dhaka, bringing trade and employment. And like Kolkata, Dhaka has always been a rich trading port. The city has always attracted large numbers of migrant workers. Even today, there are more than 600,000 rickshaw drivers, all living on the poverty line. The country's had something of a raw deal since independence. Overpopulation and natural disasters have dogged its progress. Nevertheless, Bangladesh has recently been attracting greater volumes of foreign investment and trade. But at street level, life is still tough. Kalmapur is the largest railway station in the country, and it's a centre for the distribution of newspapers. There's cheap labour in abundance in Bangladesh, and the station attracts many runaway children hoping to make it in the city. Abdullah is 16 years old, and he left home a year ago. His parents were forcing him to become an Islamic scholar in a madrasa.
আমি গ্রাম ছাড়ছি খালি একটা কারণে যে আমাদের প্রথমে মাদ্রাসায় পড়াইছিল মানে মাদ্রাসায় কোরআন শরীফ মুখস্থ করার জন্য অনেক চেষ্টা করছি কিন্তু আমি পারি না কিন্তু আমার বাপ মা সেটা বোঝে না পরে বলছিলাম স্কুলে দিতে স্কুলে মানে ক্লাসে দিবে না বললো যে মাদ্রাসায় যে এক সাবজেক্ট না পারে সে স্কুলের নাকি 7-8 সাবজেক্ট কীভাবে পারবে সেই জন্য আমার স্কুল আর দেয়নি
After running away from the madrasa, Abdullah ended up in Dhaka. He worked on a fishing boat, drove a rickshaw, and now he sells newspapers. Most days Abdullah sells his papers on commuter trains and at local railway stations. But on Wednesdays and Fridays, he goes to Dhaka Cantonment Station to catch some extra sales from international travellers on the Maitree Express.
বাংলাদেশের ভিতরে একটা ট্রেনই আছে যে ভারত বাংলাদেশ মানে আসা যাওয়া করে সেজন্য ওইটাই মানে একটু ভিড় হয় বেশি আর কি মানে মানুষের চাপ থাকে বেশি
Abdullah drops off a complimentary newspaper in the station master's office, and that secures him a prime spot to sell his papers. Nearly all the passengers are Bengali, both Hindu and Muslim, from both sides of the border.
The people of our country, that is of Bangladesh, and people of Calcutta, Western Bengal, are of similar religion, similar climate, similar weather, similar culture, everything is similar. Realizing the necessity of the people of two countries, Maitree was introduced between Bangladesh and India, and it got enormous popularity, and there is pressure from the people that the number should be increased.
Increasing numbers means more customers for Abdullah's paper sales. It's the trickle-down effect in miniature.
এখানে কেউ বাণিজ্য ব্যবসা করতে আসে আবার কেউ কারো আত্মীয় আছে নাগরিক ইন্ডিয়ার বাংলাদেশে জন্ম এরকমও অনেক আছে তারা বাংলাদেশ ভালোবাসে বাংলাদেশে আসে ইন্ডিয়া ভালোবাসে বাংলাদেশ মানুষ ওনারা আবার ইন্ডিয়ায় যায় এভাবে মানুষ আসা যাওয়া করে
Because it's an international platform, Abdullah has to sit outside the security fence. But he's built up some regular railway customers, and it's usually worth the commute. Ex-freedom fighter Amarul takes real pride in his job working on the prestige Maitree service. His first duty of the day, to get the passengers on the train.
Heartiest welcome to all of you on behalf of Bangladesh Railways. Please take your seats. Please do not carry any contraband goods with you.
Alu is a hard-working entrepreneur, struggling to provide for his family. He's the first generation to be born into an independent Bangladesh, but it's still the poor country he grew up in.
ছোটোর থেকেই পেট সংগ্রামে লিপ্ত, তো পেপার বিক্রি করছি, বই বিক্রি করছি, এই করে করেই তো এত বড় হয়েছি। এর মাঝে কত কিছু হয়ে গেছে, ওই যে বললাম বিয়ে শাদী, ছেলে মেয়ে, কত সুখ দুঃখ সব কিছুই এর ভিতরে বয়ে গেছে আর কি।
The Maitree service has been turned around overnight and now begins its 12-hour journey to Kolkata. So Alu has just a few hours of selling time before the border and before his chocolates start to melt.
তারপরে চকলেটগুলো একটু কেমন জানি মানে ওয়েদারের কারণে কি রকম হচ্ছে?
একটু গরম তো, এই ট্রেনেতে শুধু এসি বাদে আপনি নরমালে যাবেন, আবহাওয়াটা তো অনেক গরম। তারপর বাড়ি থেকে মালটা আনতে আমার তো সমস্যা হয়, একটু গরম লাগে।
এটা ভালো রাখার কোনো চেষ্টা করেন না? এইভাবে
এটা ভালো রাখা
দিবে, ভালো রাখলে সবাই কিনবে, তাই না? সবাই ভালোটাই একটু চায়।
জি জি, তো চেষ্টা তো আসলে করাই হয় আপা, সামর্থ্য অনুযায়ী তো আর কুলায় না। এখন যেমন একটা ফুল বক্স কেনা দরকার, তো সামনে কিনবো ইনশাল্লাহ। ফুল বক্স
আপনার ব্যবসাটা খুবই ভালো। ব্যবসা কিরকম করতেছেন? ভালো বেচতেছেন?
আল্লাহর রহমতে টুকটাক
চলে না? হ্যাঁ। এটা কি 110 টাকা লাস্ট? 100 টাকা হবে না?
100 টাকা দিলে
এখন দেখেন 100 টাকা দিতে পারেন কিনা, ঠিক আছে? তাহলে 100 টাকা দিচ্ছি আপনাকে আমি, ঠিক আছে? ওয়েট।
After the Maitree leaves, Abdullah still has plenty of newspapers to sell, and nobody wants yesterday's news. So he needs to sell more to make a profit. At Dhaka's busiest commuter station, there's still a little time left before the morning rush is over. But there's plenty of competition.
একদিনে 700 টাকার পেপার, 1000 টাকার পেপার বেচলে ওই দিন আমার পকেটে 300 টাকা থাকে। আমি টাকা বেশি জমাই না, ওই মানে 50 টাকা 100 টাকা এরকম জমা রাখি, আর বাকিগুলো খরচ করি। 110 টাকা।
Abdullah is both intelligent and literate, but he's one of the millions of young people in Bangladesh who face the daily struggle to survive.
বই পড়তে আমার ভালো লাগে। এখানে আছে হলো হাসিনা ক্যামেরন বৈঠক মঙ্গলবার। এটা হলো বাংলাদেশের প্রধানমন্ত্রী, বাংলাদেশ সরকারের প্রধানমন্ত্রী শেখ হাসিনা, এটা হলো লন্ডন সরকারের মানে প্রধানমন্ত্রী ক্যামেরন। দুই দেশের মানে সম্পর্ক বজায় রাখার জন্য মানে ওরা বাংলাদেশ প্রধানমন্ত্রী লন্ডন প্রধানমন্ত্রীর কাছে বৈঠক করবে, এরকম সবসময় পড়ি।
Despite his position, Abdullah reads the papers every day, and he has ambitions too.
আমি স্কুলে যেতে চাই, কিন্তু এখন আমি অনেক বড় হয়ে গেছি, এখন আমার কোনো জায়গায় কি চান্স দেবে কিনা এরকম আমার কোনো ই নেই। আমার 1 নাম্বার প্ল্যান আছে ছবি আঁকা, মানে শিল্পী হওয়া, মানে ছবি শিল্পী। 2 নাম্বার মানে মানে সাংবাদিকতা করা বা ডিরেক্টর এরকম কিছু হওয়া। 3 নাম্বার হলো মানে গরিব দুঃখী মানুষের পাশে দাঁড়ানো।
Abdullah is one of more than 50 million people living on the poverty line, and the railways have been struggling too.
Bangladesh railway is a small railway. You see, if you compare with India, Bangladesh railway has got limited resources, but people has immense intention to travel by trains. But we are not in a position to satisfy them with tickets, with comforts, with other amenities. I am trying to provide facilities to the passengers as much as possible with the limited scope of the properties.
As the end of Ramadan approaches, most people leave the city to return home to their villages, where they can celebrate Eid with their family and friends. It's known as the Eid rush, and it puts tremendous pressure on the railway as hundreds of thousands of people descend on platforms across the city, hoping to find a place on a train going home. It's an uncontrollable and powerful outpouring of energy as travellers swarm over every carriage. Eid is a time for family and friends to reunite. But for Abdullah, this year, it's different. He says he won't go home until he's made something of himself.
এই ঈদটা মানে আমার রাস্তার জীবনে প্রথম আর কি। আমি কোন সময় এরকম একা একা কোন সময় ঈদ কাটাইনি। মায়ের কথা মনে পড়ে, আমি মাঝে মাঝে কান্না করে, মানে আমি এটা জোর করে থাকতেছি এখানে। জীবনে যদি বড় হয়ে উঠতে পারি তারপর এটা যেতে পারি। বাবা মা ছাড়া ঈদ করা এখন আমার মনে আছে কিরকম, মানে এটা মানে আমার কাছে এটা কিরকম যেন একটা লাগতেছে আমার কাছে।
Abdullah is one of millions of Bangladeshi children who have dropped out of education. He's also part of a generation of Bangladeshi youth increasingly migrating to cities like Dhaka. Even though they're living hand-to-mouth, these youngsters remain ambitious and optimistic. And many NGOs and volunteers throughout the city see their mission as improving the lives of these children and helping their country to grow. So Abdullah has decided to visit one of the many NGOs set up to help street children like himself.
আমার নাম আব্দুল্লাহ।
আব্দুল্লাহ, কোথায় থাকো তুমি? এটা ছোট দেখতে দাঁড়াও। হ্যাঁ, কোথায় থাকো তুমি?
আমি কমলাপুর স্টেশনে থাকি।
কমলাপুরে থাকো। এখানকার কথা কেমন করে কার কাছে শুনছো?
আমার বই পড়ার খুব ইচ্ছা আছে, সেজন্যই মানে লেখাপড়ার ইচ্ছা আছে।
আলামিন, আসো তো একটু যাও তো, এই যে ওই বাচ্চাটা কমলাপুর থেকে আসছে। হ্যাঁ, ওকে একটু নিয়ে যাও, বাথরুমে নিয়ে যাও, নিয়ে যা বেসিনে যায় হাত।
The NGO is something of a reality check for Abdullah. It's clear that his desire for a formal education will come at a price. He'll have to swallow his pride and study with children half his age and sacrifice his freewheeling life for a more disciplined regime. And for a 16-year-old, it's a big decision. Bangladesh Railways has also been receiving help and assistance. Foreign aid and substantial funding from Indian Railways is helping to rebuild its infrastructure. The biggest engineering project was a Bongo Bondu bridge over the Jamuna River. It took 4 years to build. It's almost 3 miles across and is one of the longest bridges in Asia. It's also part of the Trans-Asian Railway, a planned continuous road and rail link from Southeast Asia all the way to Europe.
এটা আমার কর্ম, আমার কাছে খুব ভালো লাগে, যেহেতু এটা আমার এখান থেকে আমার রুটি রিজেকের ব্যবস্থা হয়। এটা আমার কাছে খুবই ভালো, এটা আমার কাছে খারাপ না, খুব ভালো। আর 9 মাস আছি, তারপরে আমি চলে যাব, রিটায়ার করব। 9 মাস, 9 महीना हम रहेगा यहाँ।
Attention please. Shortly we are going to reach Darshana station. We are to take a break at Darshana for customs and immigration formalities. Please carefully reach the counters for your customs and immigration formalities in queue with your luggage and packages.
The border station of Darshana is the end of the line for Alu and Amaru. It's not been a great trip for Alu and his melting chocolate snacks. So on Eid night, he's on a mission which he hopes will change his fortune. The Maitree departs Bangladesh on time, now in the hands of the Indian crew. Train guard Gautam Banarji will take the train across the border into India.
13107, driver ship Samira,
And his colleague Krishnendu Basu will take the Maitree on to Kolkata. Alu has had to keep his family on a meager income from the Maitree. The family has led a hand-to-mouth existence, and there is rarely any money to spare. But somehow, he's managed to save enough to buy a cool box. It's a big gamble and the most expensive purchase of his life. But he hopes that it will stop his chocolates from melting. So he'll sell more and increase his profit. At home, it wasn't the Eid surprise the family were expecting, but the cool box is greeted with delight by the children. It's an exciting addition to the family assets.
চকলেটটা ঠান্ডা থাকলে মানুষজনের কাছে আমি ভালো ব্যবসা করতে পারবো। অনেক দিনের আশা স্বপ্ন ছিল যে একটা কুল বক্স কিনবো, প্রায় 1-2 বছর ধরে টাকার অভাবে হয়ে ওঠেনি। তো আজকে আমি কুল বক্সটা কিনে আনছি, তাই আমরা একটু ভালো মন্দ খাচ্ছি, উপভোগ করছি, এনজয় করছি, আনন্দ করছি। খুব ভালো লাগছে আমাদের দিক দিয়ে আজকে।
Tonight is Eid, marking the end of the month-long festival of Ramadan. It's a time of celebration. Abdullah and his friends have some free tickets to a rock concert. It's a rare opportunity to mix with the young and aspiring student generation, who he hopes one day he'll be part of. The Maitree pulls into Kolkata station 12 hours after leaving Dhaka. Train guard Krishnendu Basu has finished his shift on the Maitree. So once all the formalities of his duty are completed, there's just enough time to phone his wife before he catches a local train home. Because tonight he's doing what he loves best, playing tabla with his friends.
মিউজিক আমাকে শান্তি দিয়েছে, আমার তো অন্য কোনো নেশা নেই। আমার নেশা হচ্ছে গান বাজনা। আমি ওটার মধ্যে ডুবে থাকতে পারলে আমি এই যেটুকু সময় পাই গান নিয়ে ভাবি, গান নিয়ে চিন্তা করি, তবলা নিয়ে ভাবি, বা অবসর সময় তবলা বাজাই।
Banarji, astrologer and guard, has predicted the future and brought happiness to his fellow railwaymen, who is now a proud father.
তোর মতনই দেখতে হয়েছে। ওপরওয়ালার কাছে প্রার্থনা করি দীর্ঘজীবী হোক, কীর্তির যশী হোক।
Abdullah decided to join the school at the NGO. But he's still selling newspapers on trains and platforms to provide him with an income while he studies. But the lessons he's learned on the street will no doubt stay with him forever.
মামুন নামের একটা ছেলে ছিল, আছে। আমরা যেখানে জামা কাপড় রাখি, আমি মন খারাপ থাকলে এরকম হয়ে যায় মুখ, তখন এখন খুশি আছি এরকম।
Alu's gamble on the cool box is already starting to pay dividends. His chocolates stay cool and the future looks optimistic.
বক্সেরটা নিয়ে গিয়ে যাত্রীকে দিচ্ছে, যাত্রীও খুশি থাকছে, আমারও বেচাটা ভালো হচ্ছে।
Alu, like all Bangladeshis, needs a little more money in his pocket and a little bit of help. But his hopes and aspirations are universal, to educate his children and create a better life for himself and his family. Partition divided Bengal along religious lines. Bangladesh has a history of occupation, a bloody war of independence, and so many natural disasters that it prompted Henry Kissinger to predict that Bangladesh would become a basket case. But after less than half a century of independence, this energetic nation is slowly but surely evolving into a more confident middle age. The Maitree Express is just 6 years old, and every journey is fully booked. There are plans to double the frequency of the service. And both sides hope this friendship line between India and Bangladesh signals an even greater cooperation and prosperity in the future, even if the price of fish goes up.
মাসে ওরে বাবা অনেক টাকা, 4,000 4,500। বাড়িতে চুপচাপ।